15th. Welcome back to the Cool Fears channel. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. The information on the channel is intended for adult collectors and not children. And welcome to episode 70 of Coffee and Toys, guys. As you can see, we have a pretty decent toy haul to go over. One that I'm really excited to go over, actually. Just actually a lot to go over with in terms of toy haul. Channel updates, toy news, and so much more. As always, guys. But first, if you're new, then welcome. This channel is all about cool action figures, analyzing them, hunting them, taking pics of them, and of course, playing with them. If that's your sort of thing, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and hit that bell notification icon so you stay notified when I do upload new content. If you do enjoy this video or any other videos that I put out, please remember to give them a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. With all that being said, guys, once again, welcome to episode 70 of Coffee and Toys, guys. Like I said, as you can see, we have a pretty decent toy haul right here. It's pretty helmet heavy. It should be a little heavier. We'll get into that when we get into the toy haul. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and start off as always. Shout out to channel sponsor Entertainment Earth. Check out my Entertainment Earth affiliate link down in the description below to check out some cool figures, get some free shipping, and help support the channel. Channel updates. So this week I've been thinking like, okay, so this is technically a podcast, but it's a video podcast. You know, I don't upload this to say like Spotify, Apple, or any other platform that has like actual audio podcast. You know, the only place I actually upload this is to YouTube. And so I was thinking of actually uploading this to like say Apple and Spotify, so that way it becomes a audio podcast as well. I've been doing a lot of research, been looking into how I can take the audio from my video podcast and extract it and put it up onto these sites as a audio podcast. So I'm just really curious to know if you guys would be interested in that, if it'd be worth my while to put in the work to transform my video podcast to audio ones, because I kind of want to start branching out with these podcasts as well. I kind of want to bring back Coffee and Toys Live in a sense. So I want to do Coffee and Toys Live, but in a more podcast setting. So it's going to be a live conversation, but it's going to be uploaded as a podcast. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think I'm going to necessarily do them on Instagram Live, mainly because the audio quality isn't the best. So I'm going to try and do it through some other form of video message, you know, maybe Zoom or FaceTime if the other person has an iPhone, and just try to get better audio quality, you know, in the videos and stuff like that. So I'm really thinking about doing that, going back and speaking with old podcast guests or Coffee and Toys Live guests that I've had on the show before. And what I'm thinking with this version of Coffee and Toys Live is more of a deeper dive, more of, so see, with Coffee and Toys Live on Instagram Live, I feel like it was a great way to get in front of the camera, to get in front of you guys, to talk with some people that you guys admire as well as I do in terms of work and everything that they do. But I was thinking in the podcast where it's just going to be me and them sitting down talking for a bit, I get a little more deeper with the questioning, you know, be like, you know, what does toy collecting mean to you? How does it tie into your memories and your happiness? Has toy collecting ever helped you out of a point in your life where you felt down and depressed? I feel like I can ask deeper questions when you're not in a very live setting, in terms of like having a bunch of people watching and, you know, just listening to your conversation. I feel like it's a little better of a setting if it's just two people talking, and if something needs to be cut out, it can be cut out. So that's kind of where my thought process is. I don't know why, maybe just because I've been listening to it like a lot of actual podcasts in the last recent weeks, that I'm like, I really want to dive a little deeper into my podcast, you know. As much of a chore as it is to edit this thing, because it is definitely a chore, I definitely do enjoy doing it, and I definitely do enjoy talking toys and stuff like that. And so I may even consider starting another separate podcast with my best friend Chris. Me and him have been talking about starting a separate podcast for years now, but we just never really did it. We've always had great banter when discussing the latest Hollywood news, especially when talking Star Wars, Marvel, DC, all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of feel like we have something there. Obviously, I'm in limbo with certain aspects of my life of whether I'm going to be here for long or not, but I feel like him and I can really do well in a podcast setting. And hey, who knows, if that really takes off and we do well, I may not need to do what else I was planning on doing in order to, just live life and whatnot. So I don't know. There's a lot in the future that I want to do. 2023 is still young. I mean, we're already coming to the latter portion of March, but it's still young in the year. And I have a lot of plans in store. And, even if I happen to have to go away and do stuff outside of my hometown, maybe I'll just start a podcast on my own. It gives me something to do, because I won't really be doing toy reviews and all that stuff, since I won't have my studio and I won't have my collection and stuff. But I think I could take my light and my mic stand, and I film on my phone, so I can definitely do like a podcast style type thing there, especially just one video a week, and maybe just highlighting some stuff in shorts and whatnot. But yeah, what do you guys think? Would you guys download and listen to an audio form of the Coffee and Toys podcast? Because sometimes I feel like watching an hour long video podcast can be a little cumbersome, because while there are certain aspects that you can just listen to, there's others that you have to see. And while there are, certain aspects that are going to be the same in terms of like, showing you guys things, and that's not going to translate too well to the audio. Um, I've seen podcasts and listened to podcasts before where it works out that way, where they have visual aids and they just make it clear over the podcast, for the audio listeners, that they're showing certain images and explain it a little bit better, which I feel like I can kind of do with the showing of the toy news, since that's kind of what I've already done. But yeah, guys, so that's pretty much where my head's been at this past week and a half. Just really been thinking about that. Let me know down in the comments below. Would you download Coffee and Toys, the podcast? And would you download Coffee and Toys Live, a deeper dive podcast? So with that being said, guys, before we get into this week's toy haul, normally I do the toy haul and then I'll talk about, some stuff, but I kind of just want to mix things up. Let's keep things interesting. Why not? So, I will be seeing John Wick, not tonight, but Saturday night. So I chose to go Saturday night because, well, I just really haven't been doing much on these Saturday nights and stuff. And so I figured, Friday night I'll film my podcast and I'll edit my podcast. And actually, I do want to apologize for completely being behind schedule this whole entire week on videos and uploads and all sorts of stuff. It started off with, well, Coffee and Toys. I kind of got a little lazy on Saturday and Friday as well, and I didn't do as much editing as I should. And then when I finally got to editing on Sunday, it was pretty late in the day because I had set aside Sunday to work on my collection, because I wanted to put up some more helmet mounts as well as mount my lightsabers. And I needed to also raise my helmet mounts. I mentioned I was doing that and stuff. Well, I actually did it. And as you can see, I picked up 2 new helmets because I was able to add some helmet mounts as well as make space for another helmet in the collection that I needed to complete the collection, which we'll talk about in a sec. But so yeah, by the time I actually finished editing Coffee and Toys, our Wi-Fi was down. It just wasn't working, and turns out all I needed to do was unplug it. So that's what I ended up doing, but not until Monday. And then Monday I had work, I had to train, and so I didn't get to upload it until later in the day. And then Tuesday I uploaded a little late, and then Wednesday I uploaded a little late, and then when it came to Thursday I didn't even upload at all. It got so late in the day that I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna upload this tomorrow so that way it's fresh. I personally don't really like uploading videos like midday, because I feel like it doesn't give it enough time to perform for at least 24 hours, because then my next video goes up at 3 a.m. the next day, and it's just like, it doesn't give it enough time. I like to give each video at least 24 hours on its own, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But so yeah, I do want to apologize for that. I'm gonna try and get ahead. I've filmed a few videos in terms of review videos to get ahead. I have to just do some toy photography, but yeah, in terms of all that, I do want to apologize for that, and hopefully this one does go up on time, because it seems like when this podcast goes up on time, like I get some good views, like you guys can enjoy, which makes sense. It goes up on Sunday morning, which is normally when people will have a lot of free time, if they do have free time during the week. And so I feel like that's really why. Whereas when this goes up on, like, say, later Sunday or early Monday, early in the week, people just don't have the time to watch it and sit there and listen. So that's another reason why I'm thinking of maybe just uploading it as an audio podcast as well. So that way it's really up to you. You have the choice whether you want to watch it, or you can listen to it, and then go back and watch the parts where you want to see, where I'm going over the toy haul and the toy news. Just different options for you guys. I always think options are great, so I'd like to give you guys different options. So so I will be watching John Wick Chapter 4, not tonight, which is the filming on Friday, but Saturday. So by the time this goes up, I'll have seen it. I wasn't too excited for it. I'll be honest. I wasn't too excited with the lead up to Chapter 4. I kind of stayed away from all the trailers and all the excitement and all the news behind it, because at this point we're 4 movies deep, and honestly, I hate to say it because I absolutely love John Wick, and they haven't made a bad step yet. And so maybe it's just me being hesitant and knowing what happens in the 4th movie and a lot of installments and stuff, but there are some good 4th installments as well. But maybe it's just my hesitation, where I was like, okay, we're going in 4 movies deep. I mean, as different as each movie is, there's still a lot of similarities, and I'm like, okay, so how different can it be? And so I was really, 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 really worried. The first movie honestly could stand alone as a solo movie and be perfectly good. And in my opinion, that's something that should have happened. But at the same time, these movies have made a shit ton of money, and like I said, they haven't missed yet. John Wick 2 and 3 have been great, and from what I've heard, so is Chapter 4. So now I am really excited to fucking see this movie, because a lot of people have seen it already, lucky bastards, and they've sang its praises, and they've said that this is a really phenomenal movie. So I'm super excited about that. So yeah, I'm super happy, and that will not be the only time we'll be talking about John Wick today. So moving on, I do kind of want to see the new Dungeons and Dragons movie next week. It seems like a fun time. Like, I have no interest in Dungeons and Dragons whatsoever. I've never played the game. I don't understand it. When I found out that there was going to be a movie, I actually was like, the fuck? Like, who the fuck would want to watch this? I didn't even realize that they had made one back in like the 80s or the 90s. But I was just like, really? Dungeons and Dragons? This is where we're going to go? I was like, okay, it's just a movie I can skip. And then I saw the trailer, and honestly, guys, it just looks like dumb fun. That's the best way I could put it. It just looks like absolute dumb fun. Like, I can go sit down, switch my brain off, and just watch a movie. Just watch a bunch of shit happen without having any connection, any real ties to anything that's going on. And I think that's something that's unfortunately a part of nowadays viewing and these franchises that are so beloved, is that we go in just wanting each installment to be the absolute best. And if we just don't like one aspect of these movies, instantly they're bad. Instantly they're the worst movies, because we built up this movie in our head. We wrote the screenplay. We wrote every blocking, every direction. We directed this movie in our head 1,000 times before it came out. And when it's not exactly like what we picture in our head, we tend to say it's the worst. We tend to say it's bad, despite it giving us 95% of what we would want in said movie, So, it is what it is, but I feel like this Dungeons and Dragons movie is going to be one where I can just go in, turn my brain off, and really have fun. I really miss those days where we can go to the movies and just turn our brains off and just enjoy a good movie. With all these cinematic universes and everything, you can't do that. You have to be paying attention to every little thing that's going on, or you're gonna miss something, or this, that. It's just like, I like to be able to go to the movie theater and just turn my brain off. Just like there was another movie trailer that I just recently saw. It was an ad on YouTube. I cannot remember the name of the movie for the life of me, but it's about these two, what was it? They're not sisters, they're best friends. So they were best friends and they're both Asians, but one grew up with like their actual Asian family and the other one was adopted by a white family. And that has actually really nothing to do with the storyline besides like that's how they met. But then, well, I guess it kind of plays into the fact that they're both same nationality, but they come from very different family backgrounds since they are, raised by different nationalities. I don't know. But regardless of all that, the fun part of the movie is that they go to China and all sorts of craziness ensues. And I was laughing throughout the whole entire trailer. I was having a great time watching it. And it just seemed like one of those movies, once again, where I can go to the movies, turn my brain off for an hour or two, and just have some fun. So I'll definitely be checking out that movie. I'm sure I'll be seeing a bunch of trailers for it pop up as the release date comes out, so I'll be able to see the name there, or I could just look it up on Fandango. I just really can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it gave me very much, I guess, kind of like Hangover vibes, but at the same time, it was like unique enough to where it interested me. There's been times where we've gotten hangover type movies and it's just like, okay, it's just the Hangover in reverse or just in a different way, but this one, it definitely piqued my interest and it had me laughing the entire time, just like the D&D trailer. It had me laughing at times and it had me like, oh shit, like that's pretty damn cool, like when that owl creature came out. And Chris Pines did a fantastic job, at least in the trailer from what I've seen. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see those three movies. Definitely excited to see John Wick now. Like I said, that will not be the last time we're talking about John Wick in this episode. So let's move on to Mando, guys. We are halfway through the season, and as badass as Bo-Katan is, and honestly, in my opinion, that's probably my favorite thing of the season so far, is that we've seen Bo-Katan in literally every episode. I mean, Disney, that's your female protagonist. That's your female character that you need to build a series around. You can build movies around, because she is a phenomenal character and she's earned it. We've grown with her. We've seen her throughout multiple medias. We've seen her through Clone Wars, Rebels, and now Mando. That's a female protagonist that us as Star Wars fans would get behind, not this random overpowered female character that you created just out of your butt to create this character. So Disney, Bo-Katan's your female protagonist. Go with it because, yeah, in my opinion, she's the best part of I was about to say Book of Boba Fett, but she's the best part of Mandalorian so far. I mean, like I said, we are halfway through the season, and we really haven't seen her done much. I really feel like last week was a really, 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 really wasted episode with us not even spending the majority of the time with Mando and Bo. And on top of that, that being the longest episode of the season, it was just, oh, Disney, what the fuck are you thinking? What the fuck are you doing? Come on, like, seriously. I don't understand that. You're going to give us a long episode. Finally give us a long episode. And none of it really has to do with Mando. I feel like that whole storyline with them could have been its own, like, Disney Plus Mandalorian sub story, like that they just released on its own. It didn't have to be a part of the season. It could have just been like one of those one-off mini stories that they released, kind of like their Pixar shorts and all that stuff. I really feel like that's what they should have done with that episode, so that they wouldn't have wasted a full entire Mando episode on characters that aren't I mean, I know they did the same thing with Boba Fett, but that was honestly the best thing they could have done in Book of Boba Fett, because Book of Boba Fett was such a bad show and so many people were harping on it, that going away from Boba and going and focusing on Mando, the character that people were missing and that should have actually had their season come out at that time, really helped that season, in my opinion, because at least we can go back and look at those last two episodes and say, those were good. Well, except for the spinning.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
Except for the spinning guy. Like, why the fuck are you... Why? But aside from the spinning guy in the middle of a battle, those last two episodes can at least be looked at as like, okay, they were badass, especially since Mando and Boba are both in them. And one of those episodes, we don't really spend any time on Tatooine with Boba. You know, it's basically all with Mando and Grogu and all that stuff. So, you know, I feel like that episode with Mando, Grogu, and Luke could have been released as a separate thing as well. But like I said, that kind of helped Book of Boba in that sense. Whereas I feel like this previous episode with Mando kind of hindered Mando because we hadn't progressed anywhere in the story. And to throw in that filler episode when we haven't progressed anywhere was really just a slap in the face. And then it was a kick in the balls when they're like, oh, it's the longest episode of the season. Yeah, I still haven't recovered from that one. They're still a little sore. But, you know, had we progressed in those first 3 episodes decently in the story, I feel like, okay, throw in the filler. That's fine at this point. Throw in a filler episode, whatever. But we really hadn't gone anywhere. Like I said, the intro scene to that filler episode felt like the length of episodes 1 and 2. So, you know, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens in the last 4 episodes of Mando. Hopefully, they're all 45 minutes to an hour long, and hopefully, they're all jam-packed with some action. We saw a lot of action in the trailer. We've yet to see it in the actual show, so I'm hoping that that's all coming in this latter portion of the season. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. But with that being said, guys, that brings us to this week's toy haul. So yes, guys, like I said, this past week I did work on my display and everything. I really need to do an updated collection tour because a lot has changed since my previous one. So I think even in my previous one, I hadn't added the DTOFs yet. I basically did a separate video just on my DTOFs and everything. But now I've done so much. I've even moved up my helmets. I've mounted my lightsabers. I've mounted more helmets up here. I'm even considering mounting my Boba Fett helmet up there because technically I have one extra mount while I do wait for the Biker Scout helmet. Even with the Biker Scout helmet, I still have an extra mount up there. And I don't really see myself buying any other Star Wars helmets. I say that now. But, so I'm really thinking of putting my Boba Fett helmet up there. The only thing that's stopping me and preventing me is that they just look so good together here. Boba and Vader, especially like with Vader being slightly above Boba. It's just... It gives me very Empire vibes in that sense. But, yeah, as you can see here, I also, you know, moved all my Boba Fett, Jango Fett stuff here. I don't know if you guys can actually see with all the stuff here. But, yeah, I've done quite a lot. You know, I've moved some stuff around. Like I said, even up here on my quarter scales that you guys can't see, the whole purpose of moving those helmets upwards on the mounts was to help display my quarter scales a lot better and a lot more efficiently with the space and stuff. So they're pushed back more, lined up. They're not so on top of each other as they were. I'm still hoping to add 3 to 4. That 4th one is like a really, really rare chance, only because it's $250 for a NECA quarter scale Master Chief, and I'm really not looking to pay that. Whereas the other 3 figures I do want to add, I can get for under $200. So I will look to add those 3 eventually, and potentially 4 if I can get a really good deal on one. But I've only ever seen one up for sale, and it's going up for $250. So yeah, so I raised all the helmets, added some helmet stands, and yeah, I got these 2. So this will be an offer up buy video. In fact, these 3 things right here, this Clone Trooper helmet, Bo-Katan's helmet, and this 1/6 scale Robert Pattinson Bruce Wayne from the Batman will all be on offer up buy videos. So yeah, as I'm saying, Bo-Katan's helmet was a purchase on offer up, as you can see. Very beautiful, an amazing helmet in my opinion. I actually had this already. I pre-ordered it and I actually had it on the show already, but I kept it in box because at the time I really had nowhere to put it. I had absolutely nowhere to put it, and I was like, you know what? I have nowhere to put it. It's a female helmet. I'm never going to wear it because it's a female helmet. So I'm just going to return it. And that's what I did. And I'm kind of glad that I did, but at the same time, I'm kind of mad that I did too, because it is a beautiful helmet and I absolutely love it. It's absolutely stunning. You do see my fingerprints all over the visor though. But I did get it for an amazing deal, which you will find out if you watch my offer of buys video. So this does retail for $120, I believe, around $120. Yeah, or $115, $120, yeah, right around there. And I got it for an unbelievable price. Like I said, if you want to know what price I got it for, check out my offer of buys video. I don't think it's the next one. I think the next one is going to be the 115 scale DeLorean, which we actually have another unboxing this week. And it's that overpriced 115. And it's that overpriced 115 scale DeLorean from Diamond Select that I already bought for $40. So yeah, that's going to be a fun one to open up. And then there's actually another story with this DeLorean, which we'll get into in a second. But like I said, I did add some mounts for my helmets. And on my main display right here above my DTOFs, I have had an evolutionary kind of display. So originally it was just the Clone Trooper helmet, the Phase 1 Clone Trooper helmet, which I've had for years. I bought this back when the Clone Wars movie first was released, and I bought this in store. I remember buying it at Walmart specifically with my grandma, and it was $50 at the time, if I'm not mistaken, which was quite a bit because this was back in the day. And so yeah, I've had it this whole entire time. They've yet to release a Phase 1 Black Series helmet, so still waiting on that, as I pray that, okay, yeah, there we go. We got a little scuff and a little red mark on there, but we got it off. But they recently released this Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet, and so previously I just had the Phase 1 and the Stormtrooper helmet, and then they released the First Order one, and I knew what I was going to do instantly. As much as I'm not a fan of the sequels, I do love troopers and I do love helmets from the Star Wars universe. And so I got the idea of going the Phase 1 helmet, the Stormtrooper helmet, and then the First Order helmet, kind of like a progression, an evolution. And then they went and announced this guy right here, the Phase 2, the Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet. And I knew I had to have this and stick him right in between the Phase 1 helmet and the Stormtrooper helmet. It is an absolutely beautiful bucket. I could not be happier with it, and I really couldn't be happier with the price I paid. Once again, an offer of buy for an amazing price. So this does retail for $131 retail, plus shipping, plus tax. Brand new, just released a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so. I got it for the amazing price of, you're going to have to watch the video to find out. So this is going to be another offer of buys video. So if you want to see what amazing price I paid for this helmet, I did take some finessing, took some, negotiating and stuff, but I finally got it for an amazing price. And like I said, if you want to know what price it was, watch the episode when it comes out, and I believe about a few weeks. So yeah, guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the third offer of buy from this previous week. So we do have a 1/6 scale Bruce Wayne from the Batman. I thought it was just proper to put him next to the Batman sign right there. So this is by SL Customs, is it? Yeah, it's an SL Custom figure. And so yeah, I saw this guy pop up randomly on OfferUp, and it was actually the same guy that I bought the Mezco Man of Steel Superman box set from. So since I had already bought from him, I was like, you know what, this guy's gonna bite. This guy's definitely gonna bite. But the key was he gonna bite at the same price? So a Mezco at $80 and a 1/6 scale figure at $80. Did he bite? You'll find out in the offer up video. So find out in the offer up video, did I pay $80 or did I pay, retail or a little bit above? You'll find out then. But yeah, guys, this is the SL Customs The Batman Bruce Wayne figure, guys. The likeness to Robert Pattinson is absolutely amazing. It wasn't really a figure I thought I would pick up, I guess it's kind of giving away the video, but when I found him for such an amazing price, I couldn't say no, and it added a little to the Batman display. Riddler was looking a little lonesome down there, so at least this gives him a little bit of some company. I may actually also buy another Riddler or Puzzle Man on OfferUp as well. This guy has him up for a really good price, and I know I can talk him down to an even better price. And the reason I'm going to be doing that is because Puzzle Man comes with the ability or the options to display the figure as a Riddler's henchman as well. So they give you a rifle and everything, so that way you can dress him up to look like the henchman at the end of the film. Now, I did want to pick up a Conundrum Man in order to have him fill in as my Riddler figure, only because in watching reviews between the two, Conundrum Man, his jacket is a little more weathered and worn, and so that looks a lot closer to the appearance of Riddler in the movie versus Puzzle Man, whose jacket's very clean, and that kind of goes more towards the henchman who just bought the outfit and the uniform for the political rally and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, but if I can get it for this price that I have in mind, I'll definitely just be picking up Puzzle Man because it'll save me quite a bit, and I'll be able to display a Riddler and a Riddler's henchman. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the final piece of this week's toy haul, and that is the Diamond Select Back to the Future Part 3 1/15 scale DeLorean red wheels. So this should actually be the rail ready version. Yes, I did buy the rail ready version online. Unfortunately, they sent me this one, and I did buy this one also from a separate seller. So when I got this in hand or in the mail and I opened it up, I instantly just tore through the packaging and everything because I was waiting on this version, from somebody on eBay. But when I went to look at my eBay app, and I looked at the notifications as to what got delivered, it stated the rail ready got delivered. And so I got in contact with the seller, and unfortunately, they do not have the rail ready version. So now I am shit out of luck with the rail ready and the Back to the Future Part 2 hover conversion one, because the prices on those are just astra fucking nomical. The one that I had bought for this one for the rail ready wheels was the absolute best price I was able to find, and the absolute most I was willing to pay for these things. Aside from that listing, the rest of them are just fucking like $2 something plus $60 for shipping. So it's just at that point I might as well just buy the Hot Toys, DeLorean at the prices that they want for these 1/15 scale ones. So I'm still gonna try and get the frosted covered hover converted DeLorean from OfferUp from that one seller, and at least I'll have part 1, part 2, and part 3 on display, and that will make me feel a little bit better, even though I know that there are ones that I'm missing. I may also do a Frankenstein's hunt. I may go to Frankenstein's and see if any of the vendors there have part 2 or part 3 rail ready wheels available for sale at a decent price, because even there they can get a little pricey. But yeah, so that wraps it up for this week's toy haul, guys, and let's go ahead and move on to this week's toy news, because we have a decent amount to talk about, starting off with my favorite toy company, Mezco Toys. They did announce a new Gwen Stacy, because we are getting that new Into the Spider-Verse movie, so I guess that's kind of like they're tying with it. I'm not a fan of alternate Batmans, alternate Spider-Man. Oh, I shouldn't say alternate Batmans. Well, when I say alternate Batmans, I mean like other people being Batman. I definitely like other versions of Bruce Wayne Batman, but I don't really care too much for other people playing Batman. Like when Damian Wayne or Nightwing become Batman, I don't play that. The only one that I do accept is the Thomas Wayne Flashpoint one, and that's only because technically Bruce Wayne is dead. He doesn't even exist in that universe. So that's the only one I do accept. So I just really don't care for alternates like that. They just feel so lazy to me. Like, Really, you couldn't come up with another character. You had to just copy and paste, but whatever. We're getting a whole movie about copy and paste. So we are getting a Gwen Stacy 112 Collective new figure. This isn't really something that was solicited or shown off, but if you did order the Hoods 1920s version of Hood's Vapor, he is coming with a new Mezit set in the form of this Pink Skulls Mezit set. So shout out and thank you to the toy page for sharing this on his page, and shout out and thank you to the original poster. You will see their handle right there on the photo as well. Next up, sticking with M's, let's go ahead and talk about some McFarlane toys, because we recently got Shazam Fury of the Gods. That came out, and the whole big, I guess, spoiler thing was that Wonder Woman was in the movie. And no, that wasn't really a spoiler, because they showed her in the trailer, even though she was specifically in the movie to do something that spoils the movie. So it was just a whole thing. But yeah, she's in the movie. So McFarlane Toys did release a Shazam Wonder Woman figure. Sticking with the M still, let's go ahead and talk some Mafex news, because they didn't really show off anything, but there are rumbles and teases and rumors that Mafex will be releasing a John Wick Chapter 4 figure. So that one I may have to pick up. I have a John Wick in Mezco form. I have a John Wick in Diamond Select form. I have quite a bit in Diamond Select form. Shout out and thank you to my friends over at Diamond Select for sending those over, by the way. And so now all that's left is a Mafex and a 1/6 scale. So we'll have to wait and see. In terms of 1/6 scale, third party, there is a third party one, but we'll talk more 1/6 scale John in a sec. But the thing that they did show off officially and show off pre-orders for is their Mafex Bo-Katan. Now, I personally only have Mafex Batman figures. I am not going to even try and go into that Mafex Star Wars realm, because then it's just going to be costly. As it is, I'm already trying to get rid of my Black Series figures, so there's really no point in me going into the Mafex 112 scale figures for Star Wars, at least. So I'm pretty content with 1/6 scale in terms of Star Wars. I've said this before, I look at my collection as tools in order to photograph and shoot and whatnot, and I just personally don't take that good of Star Wars toy photography. So I kind of don't need Black Series figures anymore, or 1/12 scale Star Wars figures. Now, I absolutely love my Trooper display, my Trooper shelf, because I don't want to have to buy that in hot toy form, and they look really good. But in terms of like other 1/12 scale Star Wars figures, I'm out. I am done. I am not buying them. Like I said, I'm probably gonna be getting rid of quite a bit soon, but that's going to be at another time. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about Hot Toys, guys. Like I said, we are still talking some John Wick, because once again, there is some rumblings, there is some rumors that 1/6 Chapter 4 John Wick will be coming from Hot Toys very soon. Now, that would make sense, because I think the last John Wick figure that they did make was from Chapter 2, so he is due for an update. The other thing that Hot Toys did show off this previous week was Kang from the MCU, and honestly, the likeness to the actor is very spot on. It looks absolutely amazing. It looks exactly like Jonathan Majors. I'm just not an MCU collector. I actually had the chance to buy a Hot Toys Mysterio MCU for $180 pretty much yesterday. And I passed. I'm not an MCU collector, and I just don't want to go down that route, because if I go down that route, the only thing I foresee down that route is pain and misery. So I'm just like, I'm not going to go down that route. I had to just not go and pick up that really greatly priced Mysterio that I really wanted to go pick up. But I held out. And I didn't pick it up. But Kang looks absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, switching back to 1/12 scale, guys, Super 7 announced their newest wave of Power Rangers. Now, there's only 3 figures in this wave. Now, I believe this is, I don't know, is this wave 4? No, I think this is wave 3, because I think the first one happened and then the second one was released, and I think this is wave 3 at this point. But we are going to be getting the White Mighty Morphin Ranger in this wave, as well as his White Tiger Zord. And this third figure that we are getting, I kind of don't know who they are / remember who they are, but we are getting a Madame Woe, which she looks like one of the villains that they face, as just not one of the more memorable ones in my opinion, only because I personally do not remember her. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk some NECA news, because I have been waiting since they started their Universal Monster line for this character to join the line, and that is Creature from the Black Lagoon. That is my all-time favorite Universal Classic Monster movie, and I cannot wait to add him to my collection. The green looks absolutely amazing on him, and yeah, so I was actually thinking, like, I'm gonna step away from that line. Like, I need to stop buying from that line. I'm pretty content with just Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Wolfman. And then I remember that they had already announced that he was going to be coming, but now it's even closer. So yeah, I'll definitely be picking him up. We are also going to be getting another figure in their Gargoyles line, and this one being Angelica. Once again, I've never actually seen the show. I've seen parts and pieces of it, but in terms of characters, I really couldn't tell you who this is. It's just another gargoyle to add to your massively wing-spanned collection of gargoyles. So yeah, guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about Marvel Legends. They had one announcement this week, and that is Miles Morales. I believe this is coming from the Spider-Man 2 video game. But yeah, we are getting Miles Morales from Marvel Legends, a new one at least. Next up, let's go ahead and talk Star Wars, because much like with Marvel, they had one announcement this week as well, and that is the Luke and Grogu Deluxe Build-A-Pack. So for $44, almost, well, it is going to cost you $50. I was going to say almost $50, but at checkout it will cost you $50. For $50, we will get these two figures, and yeah, that's another one of the reasons why I'm out of Black Series. Is one, I don't utilize them enough for toy photography. Two, I cannot take a good enough Star Wars pick in toy photography. And three, these astronomical prices, especially for these figures that actually come with accessories. You know, if you get, like a trooper with a blaster for $30, you're just like, what the fuck? And then you get a set that actually comes with accessories, and they're like $50. Oh man, that just sucks, because that was the line that really got me back into collecting and my bread and butter for the longest time, So to see them go down this path, it's very episode 3.
You're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
So yeah, anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for Hasbro, guys. Hasbro didn't really have too much to announce this week. I always make that joke that, like, Marvel Legends has to make an announcement, and last week I don't think they actually did have an announcement, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess they survived, but they were only able to make one this week. But with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and talk about some Diamond Select news, because we have quite a bit to talk about. So as always, shout out and thank you to my friends over at Diamond Select for sending over all the information and photos for this portion of the news. So let's get started with some Green Hornet love. So yes, the new Green Hornet Kato Deluxe figure from Diamond Select is available now for $25. Available now from their Marvel Select line is their Apocalypse figure. You can pick this guy up for $30. Along with their Green Hornet Kato Deluxe figure, they are also releasing a 1/7 scale resin mini bust of Kato from the Green Hornet. You can pick one of these up for $60. Next up, let's switch gears and talk some fantasy. Adding to their gallery statue collection, they are coming out with an Aragorn statue. And honestly, guys, Aragorn was always my favorite character in Lord of the Rings, so that's really cool that he's getting his own gallery statue. Next up, they did announce that they were going to be getting back into the Pacific Rim figures that they had done previously. So Series 1 is going to be available now as well for $30 a piece. Next up, we are getting a Marvel animated style Blade mini statue for $60. Next up, we are getting another Marvel addition to the gallery statue line in the form of Gambit. You can pick up this Louisiana native for $60. We are also getting a 3D Star-Lord resin. I think it's a half bust, basically just of his head and his helmet and everything for $200. And the detailing on this thing looks absolutely amazing. If you're a fan of the Nightmare Before Christmas and you're a fan of the Nightmare Before Christmas action figures, you're in luck because Series 3 is coming out for $25 a piece. Next up, we are getting two new 1/7 scale statues from their Star Wars line in the form of Han Solo and, of course, his best buddy, Lando. Who'd you think I was going to say? Chewbacca? I'm just kidding. But yeah, we are getting a Lando and a Han Solo 1/7 scale statues. Han Solo retails for $175, but Billy D. Williams wants that likeness rights money because Lando costs $250, and they're both on like the same base and same stature. So it's kind of odd that Billy D. Williams wants a little more cheddar for his likeness than Harrison Ford, but at the same time, Billy D. Williams ain't doing Indiana Jones 5 at almost 70, 80 years old, so makes sense. Next up, we are getting a 1/6 mini bust Paz Vizsla. You can pick this guy up for $150. Now, the one that I am most excited about is that we can now pre-order the TMNT Raphael Gallery statue. So previously we have seen The Last Ronin, we've seen Leo, now we've seen Raphael, and in the description it does say that Donnie and Mikey are coming soon. You can pick this guy up for $75. With that being said, guys, that wraps it up for this week's toy news. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and open up this overly priced DeLorean that when I get into things, guys, I really get into things and I get into rush things. So especially when it's stuff that I see is like past its point of retail pricing and I only see one or two things that are up for a decent price, I kind of put the pressure on myself to purchase these things. And you know what? I'm going to stop making a fool of myself and just use my other hand to pick this package up. So yeah, we do have this overpriced DeLorean right here. I already have it up here, but like I stated, the shipping on this was like $44 if I wasn't mistaken, because it came all the way from Australia. And so to ship it back to them would be $44. So that's pretty much almost $100 in just shipping. That's basically money you just throw away, So I'm just like, do I really want to ship it back to them or just, keep it and use it in my actual Back to the Future display? Because along with raising the helmets, I also put a 2x4 behind my DeLoreans, and I was able to put my die-cast Batmobiles up there as well as my die-cast DeLoreans. And so I was able to clear up some space in my Back to the Future display, and now I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead and fill it with this one right here. I was really hoping they fucked up and they sent me like part 2. Unfortunately, no. It's another part 1, which, like I said, I already have. So yeah, we've seen it before. It opens up, blah blah blah, and this one's all used. And this is what happens when you rush into things and collections, guys. You overpay for things and you underpay for things and you don't actually read proper descriptions. So yeah, guys, with that being said, that pretty much wraps it up for this week's episode. As always, thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode. Like I said, let me know down in the comments below, should I transfer this into an audio podcast so that way you guys can also download it and that way you guys can like listen to this in the background and whatnot. And as always, shout out and thank you to channel sponsor Entertainment Earth. Check out my Entertainment Earth affiliate link down in the description below to check out some cool figures, get some free shipping, and help support the channel. As always, I've been your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. And as always, have a great fucking day. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed those pics, you can find the full images over on Instagram at Cool Figures. And I do also have a separate Instagram account for my more thought out, planned out, more edited pics called Epic Shots by Cool Figures. Check it out. If you like what you see, leave me a follow there as well. And if you guys like unboxings, check me out over on TikTok at Cool Figures. That's where I post all of my unboxings. And check me out every Sunday for Coffee and Toys, a weekly Toy News Toy Talk podcast where we will go over all the latest and great toy news, reveals, pre-orders, weekly toy haul, and so much more. And join me every Wednesday over on Instagram for Coffee and Toys Live, where I will speak to a new guest every week about toys, toy hunting, toy photography, and so much more. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me talk about toys. I really do appreciate it.